Hello and welcome, or should I say bonjour. Today we are having a look at the Saboteur on this daily demo for today's episode. I am joined by Tom French, lead designer at Pandemic Studios. Tom, you're working on the Saboteur. I am glad that you and your beard could join us today.
Thanks, sir.
So what are we going to check out right now?
So one of the things we've shown a lot of when we've been demoing the game is missions. And like we have a lot of big missions in the game, but we've talked about the sandbox elements of the game, but we haven't really shown much of it, like in how it actually affects the world.
And for the very few who aren't familiar with the Saboteur, what's the real quick rundown on this game?
So the Saboteur is the story of our hero Sean Devlin here, who's an Irishman, who's a race car driver that goes over to Germany before the war actually starts. But there's this kind of air of the war about to begin, and he goes for a race, and after the race his best friend gets killed by this guy Dierker, and it sets Sean off on a vengeance quest for the rest of the game, and he escapes into Paris and basically spends most of the game trying to hunt down and kill Dierker.
And so he's not a soldier, he's an everyman, just sort of like off on his own personal quest.
Yeah, that was something we really wanted to do, just to kind of, again, just for us, really about separating us from the idea of the typical World War II game, was make him this kind of common man. And he's inspired by a real guy that was a race car driver turned saboteur, so it was definitely an interesting starting point. So we went with kind of this mantra of, you know, more Indiana Jones, less Saving Private Ryan. So I just blew up that tower there, and it killed the sniper inside of it. It created a suspicion range, so if I'm kind of seen near there, I'm going to get in trouble. And so Sean's kind of used the rooftops to escape. A little car will pull up and investigate the situation. And there's literally a layer, like it was showing, like there's all this stuff exists everywhere in the world. And it sells the idea of the occupation, but it also gives a reason to explore and hunt down stuff in the world. And some of the earlier areas, there's things like exploding barrels next to them, which you can use to take them out a little bit quicker than you usually would. Normally you're running around planting explosives on it like I did the one a minute ago. And they're not always combat centric, a lot of them are. Oops, I pushed the alarms up already.
Oh, they're mad now.
They're mad. So like you're mentioning, Sean's not a soldier, right? So I've got there's a lot of drift on the scope here, but there's what we can call perks, which is actually something I'll show you in a second here, that is about the idea of improving Sean's skills based on the way the player wants to play the game. So I found another collectible thing. It's this supply crate with contraband in it. Sometimes they'll have gear in them, so you can get some freebie weapons from them. Or like I could have climbed up this tower here and taken that guy's sniper rifle. So it is another way you can kind of stock up on supplies even in the world as well.
And contraband, you were telling me, is the sort of currency in the game, right? It's where you buy stuff on the black market?
Yeah, so money was basically worthless during the war, and so we wanted definitely that fantasy in the game. And so you go to take that stuff to the black market and use that to get better gear for yourself. But it's not just for Sean. You can actually use it to upgrade the actual resistance themselves. Get the resistance better guns, get them better supplies so that they can, you know, come in with leather jackets so they can take a few more bullets as they're fighting alongside of you. So now I'm up on the roof here, and like I was mentioning, that drift on that scope was killing me. So Sean's not a great soldier, but these guys are down here looking, so we'll shoot them. So now I got another perk. Okay. So if I hit the thing, it'll bring up what the perk does, and there's like 3 layers of all these different types of perks, and there's a lot of them in the game, and they get progressively much harder as you actually play through the game itself.
What other sort of perks can we expect to see?
So there's definitely some related to different types of sabotage. There's different vehicle stuff. There's there's a lot of different weapons type stuff in the game. So it's really, there's a lot of a variety to the different types of stuff you can do, and it's really based off of the different mechanics and tools we have in the game for the player. So I got yet another perk. So I reduced the recoil because I got some on like machine guns and things like that. So it is really about Sean becoming more of this action character as you play through the game. So there's a good little spot off the roof here. And so like I was mentioning the idea of the resistance, you're not always just upgrading Sean, and the reason you want to upgrade the resistance is you can actually use them as a bit of a tool. Like if I wanted to get out of here, I've brought in a lot of heat behind me here. So what I can do is we can call in for some resistance backup, have them come in. A little blue dot will show up on the map with a car full of resistance fighters. There they come.
Oh, hey.
Oh, and some heavy reinforcements. We'll shoot the fuel tanks on that thing. So they'll start fighting alongside of Sean and actually help turn the tide. So, or use that as like a distraction to kind of get myself away from the situation. So yeah, there's a lot of fun to even just be had in the general sandbox of our game, even besides the missions.
All right, Tom, well, it looks like you may have narrowly avoided certain deaths, so I applaud you for that. Before I let you go, Tom, a couple quick questions. When is the Saboteur going to be out in stores, and on which platforms will it be out on?
So the Saboteur will be out December 8th this year in the US on the 360, PS3, and PC as well. So,
all right.
A lot of big game to play this season.
All right, thank you very much, Tom.
Absolutely.
All right, so there you go. That is your look at the Saboteur. Back to you guys.